Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great week so far, and welcome to this new video on the beloved Ethereum. We're going to do a full update on Ethereum here. We'll focus mostly on the technicals and kind of general market fundamentals, right? I mean, like I've said, I think 10 times already, we have the interest rate decision tonight. That's quite major, or at least short term, that's going to be major, right? And that can actually influence the markets and the price of Ethereum quite a bit as well. So we have to talk about that. Now, I also, and let me know if you're interested in this, but I haven't really spent that much time talking about Ethereum treasury companies, etc. Even though I do track that and I do keep track of all the news. I think yesterday we actually had some major SBET news coming out regarding, I think, so that's Sharplink Gaming. I think they're actually doing a stock buyback. So in general, I'll try to incorporate that in these videos as well. But for now, we'll focus on the technicals of Ethereum, which I think are pretty major. And then we will talk about the fundamentals later today. So far, Ethereum has been moving exactly as expected. Yesterday, we were actually spot on with this move right here. What I said yesterday morning is that I thought ultimately this main support level right here around 4,480, so 4480. That's the main support level, in my opinion, right? That was the main resistance level at the end of August and the main resistance level going into September. We managed to break above that with quite a lot of volume, with a lot of strength. And I said, in the weekend, I think we're going to drop down into that. I was correct with that. We were right with that. And then I said, I think we're going to hold that. Yesterday morning, however, I said, I think we can actually spike down a bit lower. Because of the fundamentals coming up and just in general the market circumstances. And I'll get back to that a bit later. But what I said back then is that we could spike down into this fair value gap that we left on Friday, which we spiked down into. Beautiful support, reclaimed the 30-day rolling VWAP. So far, I have to say that my predictions have been correct, which I'm very happy with always, right? And I don't say that in a cocky way because I understand it can come across in that way. But honestly, I mean, my main goal with these videos is to prepare you as well as I can for the markets, right? So I'm just personally very happy if I'm able to do that. That's the main purpose of these videos, and I always try to do that. So when it happens, I think it's good to call that out. And that we're kind of in the right headspace to understand what's going on with Ethereum. So we got a good move from the markets overnight. Actually started yesterday at the end of the US session. That has also helped Ethereum right here. However, I think the situation for Ethereum is a little bit less bright than for Bitcoin. Because what you see with Ethereum, and I have to compare it here, but what you see with Ethereum is that yesterday when the US session opened, we had a lot of volume, we spiked down, we were able to reclaim. That's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But what happened with Bitcoin is that we actually saw new volume coming in, pushing the price up higher. And that hasn't happened with Ethereum. So far, we're holding our main support level at 4,480. But you can see this morning, we've already found resistance here at the fair value gap. And we still have this single print up here. There's quite a lot of resistance. And just in general, the sentiment, at least my personal sentiment regarding Ethereum, has been slightly worse or slightly more bearish than for Bitcoin. And therefore, what I think you should be prepared for is a spike down again. Yesterday we had a spike down. I warned you for that. I think that's possible again. Look, the interest rate decision, even though it's quite clear what's going to happen, it's still a very volatile event. And right now what you're seeing with Bitcoin is that there's a lot of leverage coming into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is most likely going to be very volatile. And at this point of time, Ethereum is just incredibly correlated to Bitcoin, right? It matters a lot what Bitcoin is doing to Ethereum, and it will react, right? So therefore, I think you should be ready for some sort of a spike down. When we're talking about levels we can spike down into, I mean, it's always a bit tough. I would say the main level I'd be looking at is this level right here around 4,400 and 4,360. I think we can spike down into that. It's not guaranteed, of course, but I do think you should be ready for that. And then after that, I still do think we'll be able to hold that level at 4,480 and the 30-day rolling VWAP at 4,450. We'll be able to hold that, and then we'll be able to get continuation up higher into 4,700 and 4,800 again. Those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know for now. I'll definitely keep you updated on this. I'll also be live streaming tonight, so make sure to tune in if you want to have a good time. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Take care and bye.